Hello and welcome. Today a brand new model from Ado. It's the Ado Air 30 Ultra. Ultra because it's ultra cool, has really nice features, and it is very special concerning the design, super beautiful. But before we dive really deep into the features and what's new about this bike, let's go for a test ride. In my opinion, the most exciting feature of this new bike from Ado is the motor, because it is a development together with Bafang. And Bafang is a very established manufacturer of e-bike motors, and it's a 3-gear automatic system. So I'm going to show you if it's working and how it feels. So when I reach 13 kilometers an hour, it's supposed to, and it just did, shift from the first to the second gear. And when I reach 19 kilometers an hour, there's the next switch from the second, of course, to the third gear. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I really like automatic gearing systems on one hand, because then it's very superficial, but then the design of the bike is really nice because you have one cable that is missing, and most of the time it also needs less service. And oh, here comes the first incline. Attention. Yeah, super easy. And yep, just switch the gears and here we go, super easy. But now back. So I really like automated gearing system because it's less service, the bike looks cleaner and slimmer. And in this case, I really like when the switch happens, so from the first to the second and the second to the third gear. Because this bicycle actually is a perfect commuter bike. And so I would say most of the ways you do cycle are within urban settings, and then you don't need more than 3 gears. And I'm not the biggest fan of single speeds, because then most of the time you do have a transmission where you're always lacking something. So 3 gears in the city, for me, absolutely perfect decision, perfect choice. And the motor has 14 Newton meters of torque, which is quite powerful. I mean, most of the e-bikes, city e-bikes, do have like 40 or 45 Newton meters. And in combination with the torque sensor, it feels very natural. And this torque sensor is like immediately there. So the moment you push the pedal, you get the support of the motor. And that's actually what a torque sensor is doing. It measures how hard you push the pedal, and depending on how hard you're pushing it, that's the support you get. So it's actually like riding, very natural riding experience, because that's what happens when you cycle a manual bike. If you push the pedal hard, you go faster. Same's happening with this motor. There are 3 modes of pedal assistance, or actually 4 in total, because of course you can switch off, like choose 0, and then you don't have any support at all. And most of the time I was cycling in the second mode of pedal assistance, because the first, then you really get only support when you start cycling. That's what I actually like, because then you do have this little extra support, but you can like cycle as if it's a regular bicycle. And the second and the third are a bit stronger. I was actually, when I was just cycling the incline, it was in the second mode of pedal assistance, yes. And that's absolutely enough. And there's also an extra, because you can choose 2 different modes. There's an eco mode and a sport mode. And to be honest, in the city, for me it was the eco mode, because I had enough different choices of pedal assistance, and the support for me was enough. So especially when I was cycling in the 3rd level. But if you go and choose the sport, and I bet most of my male companions would do that, then it's the extra notch, and you really have a really cool acceleration, and it's very powerful. This sitting position, as you can see, is a bit more sporty. So there's some weight on my wrists. I can still see enough what's happening around me. That's very important, especially if you cycle in the city. And yeah, due to the frame geometry, it's very comfortable. It's a bit wider, so it really reminds me of a classic Dutch bike. Also because the tires are pretty wide and they work a bit like a suspension. Also super important are of course the brakes, and they work really well no matter how the weather is. And they are from Tektro, and Tektro is a really cool manufacturer. The brakes are not only very beautiful, but they work really well. Also very important, now you can hardly see me because the sun is coming from the back, is the display. So even though the sun is shining pretty brightly, I can see what's happening on the display, and it's colorful. So I see in what mode of pedal assistance I'm in, what mode of the motor I choose, is it eco or is it sport? And of course I see how fast I am and how the battery is charged. So that's something I really like. Well done. But this bike does have a suspension, because it has a suspension seat post, and that was really comfortable when I was cycling even over the worst cobblestone. Every e-bike of course needs a battery, and this one is located in the tube, and you can't see it from the front, and also the side you don't see it, but you can easily take it out. And of course you have all the flexibility to charge it, but of course you can also just open the lid and charge the bike directly. The charging process takes up to 4 to 6 hours, which is quite long, but if you do it overnight or when you're at work, when you're allowed to do that there, absolutely okay for me. The range of the battery is up to 100 kilometers. I would always say it's a bit less, because I think it's only when you choose the eco mode and when you probably only choose the first level of pedal assistance and when you're super lightweight and maybe don't have any inclines at all. So the range is always individual, of course, concerning how you cycle, how heavy you are, and what the way you commute or what you cycle looks like. But definitely I like it. I love the new integrated design of the battery, and that the capacity is enough if you do cycle a lot in the urban settings. Speaking about commuting in urban settings, this bike comes fully equipped with fenders made from aluminium, and they were noise-free. They didn't rattle when I was cycling even over the worst cobblestone. Also, it comes with a bike stand, and it comes with a rear rack. The rear rack is perfect if you want to add a basket or if you want to add some bags. This bicycle comes fully equipped also with beautiful lights in the front. You can switch it on easily with this little remote, and the light in the front always reminds me of Wall-E. Not sure if you know him. I think it's a Pixar movie. And the rear light also very beautiful, integrated into the rear rack, also has a reflector. The front also has a reflector. Very important if you do live in Germany, because it's required from the German law. And you do have a little switch underneath the remote, and it has turning signals, so you can show where you're going, left or right. I would always recommend still to use your hand or your arm to show where you're going, because I would say most of your fellow cyclists or the cars that are on the street with you are not used to turning signals on bicycles. Not yet. I also really love the design. Ado always offers the matte finish, and I think that looks very sophisticated and beautiful, because in combination with the beautiful not only frame geometry and frame design, but how you see hardly any welding signs, only just here down at the bottom bracket. The only thing that I don't really like is that the tube where the battery is integrated is a bit longer than the bottom bracket. I don't know, that doesn't fit into the overall appearance of the bike, but maybe that's very individual. There are indeed 2 color options, the green, like this one, and there is a blue. And I really like these 2 color options on one bicycle, because it is an automated gearing system. There is 1 cable missing in the front, and so that's why it looks even more beautiful and very clean. And of course, because it is an internal cable routing, always very important, so that the appearance is very chic and clean. I also like that Ado always chooses carbon belt drives, because I really like them. They do not need any service at all, they don't have any oil and grease, and they last up to 3 times longer than a regular chain, so approximately 30,000 kilometers. Ado did choose most of the components that can be serviced at a regular bike shop, because you do order the bicycle online, and if there is an issue you always have to contact Ado, most of the time through the Ado app. But as I said, most parts and accessories can indeed be serviced in a bike shop. I would say only the battery, for example, then you have to contact Ado. Ado listens to what the cyclists need and want to be happy in. And this one here is equipped with a GPS tracker. So you can always see live where your bike is supposed to be, or if it's not where it should be, then you can call the police and maybe you get your bicycle back. So overall, Ado did it again. A very beautiful development of a bicycle that is beautiful, that is special, that offers high quality components and a high quality overall appearance and assemblance. And this bicycle is not launched yet, but you can go to the Indiegogo campaign site, and if you subscribe you get up to 40% off. Not sure what the price in the end will be, but most of the time if you check the Ado website you see where the prices usually are. So definitely for me super interesting, the Ado Air Ultra 30.